under the cold moonlight of the ocean far from shore, where the waves never rest and the sea wind howls like a challenge. A giant hunt takes place every night that not everyone has the chance to witness. It is not a whale hunt, nor a pursuit of a school of ferocious tuna, but a hunt for a mysterious creature called the giant Pato squid. This squid is called Pato not only because of its enormous size and lightning-fast speed in the water, but also because of the way it darts out of the deep darkness like living arrows. They are several meters long, weigh up to tens of kilograms, have eyes as big as rice bowls, have tentacles as long as ropes, and have a suction so strong that they can leave purple circular marks on fishermen's arms after just one clinging. But it is these giant creatures that are pulled by the millions into the ship's lights every night as if enchanted by an ancient magic. The local fishermen don't use nets. They don't use complicated machines. They only have hand lines, long flexible ropes with hooks and glowing lures specially designed to fool the deadly curiosity of these giant squid. And each fisherman, with the skills accumulated over decades of drifting at sea, is like a true artist, controlling the lines in their hands like living strings. As soon as the squid touches the bait, they immediately jerk their hands, turn around, pull up, and in the blink of an eye, a giant squid splashes onto the deck, and so, before the night even reaches midnight, the deck is full of squid. One day, the ink overflows so much that they have to scoop it up with a shovel and use a hose to spray it down to the back of the boat. Tons and tons of Pato squid lie scattered about, glistening under the yellow lights like treasure. But the fishermen still haven't stopped. They hook bait, drop lines, pull, throw, jerk, continuously like a choir of dancers performing in the madness of the ocean. Pato squid fishing boats are not large, usually only a few dozen meters long, with a wide deck, series of extremely high-power halogen lights strung on both sides of the boat like artificial lighthouses, illuminating the sea surface to a blinding brightness. That light is a deadly lure for Pato squid. They rise from the deep sea to the surface, fascinated by the light, rush into the sparkling hooks and become a giant feast for humans. Each fisherman usually operates 3 to 5 hand lines at the same time. They stand along the side of the boat, their feet firmly planted like tree roots deep into the wooden floor, their hands dancing continuously. There is not a moment of rest, not a moment of distraction. If they are slow for a beat, the squid will slip off the hook. If they make a mistake, the line can tighten around their wrists like a whip, leaving bruises. But these men do not falter. They are used to pain, to the salty seawater, and to the pungent smell of squid that rises like the breath of hell. In one night, a boat can catch from several dozen to several hundred tons of Pato squid, depending on the season and the amount of squid. At the peak of the squid season, large boats pull out to sea like a swarm of light monsters, stretching for nautical miles. From afar, the entire sea looks like a city drifting in the middle of the ocean, glowing in the pitch-black night. Not only adults, many young fishermen also join this journey as a rite of passage. They learn how to tie ropes, how to cast the line at the right spot, how to feel each slight jerk on the seabed to know if it is squid or a rock, whether the bait is being nibbled or a tentacle is pulling. These skills are not taught to them by books, but are passed down from generation to generation through blood, sweat, and calloused hands. Each giant squid when it comes out of the water looks like a prehistoric creature, a purple-red body. Long, wiggling tentacles. A hard beak like a parrot's. And deep, sunken eyes. But the fishermen are not afraid. To them, each squid is a trophy, a testament to the strength, endurance, and resilience of those working at sea. Not everyone is strong enough to follow this profession. Some can only last one season and then give up. Some break their arms because the fishing line is whipping the squid when it struggles. Some almost lose their lives when their center of gravity is pulled off balance and they fall into the sea in the middle of the night. But there are still thousands of fishermen every year who are willing to throw themselves into the ocean. Just to participate in this magnificent Pato squid hunt. It is said that Pato squid is not simply a seafood. It is a symbol of challenge, of courage, and of human strength when daring to confront nature. In each night of squid fishing, not only are giant prey pulled up, but also the spirit of the ocean is preserved and passed on. There are nights when the moon is dim and the sky is drizzling, but the fishermen still do not stop. There are trips that last for weeks in the middle of the sea without seeing the shore. But they still persevere. Because just one night, when the Pato squid appear, all the effort, waiting, and hardship will be exchanged for millions of squid covering the deck of the ship. That is when the ocean gives gifts to those who know how to wait and trust. Since ancient times, hand fishing for squid has been a tradition in many coastal countries such as Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, and recently in the seas of South America, especially Peru, where Pato squid appear most. Fishermen here have developed a fishing system that relies entirely on manual skills, creating a unique culture around this giant squid. There have been filmmakers from Hollywood who wanted to film squid fishing at its peak season, but they were all overwhelmed. The camera was splashed with water, the lens was blurred with ink, and it was impossible to keep up with the frantic pace of the hands pulling the line continuously. A fisherman laughed and said, "To understand this job, you have to stand here all season. Every night is a battle." Perhaps no words can fully describe the scene, when millions of giant Pato squid were conquered with only human hands and a small fishing line. A strange contrast between the smallness of humans and the giantness of the ocean. But full of victory and pride. The fishy smell of squid seeped into every finger, every shirt, every breath. The people who make a living fishing for Pato squid do not need to be told about their work. Just stand near them for a few minutes and you can feel the entire ocean clinging to them. They are the living embodiment of the sea, rough, salty, and full of hidden power. Fishing trips usually begin in the late afternoon, when the sun begins to set behind the horizon and the sky turns a deep purple. Boats set off from the small harbor, loaded with tons of ice, hundreds of reels of fishing line, fake bait, and powerful lights from a high-powered lighting system. Each boat carries 10 to 20 fishermen, all ready for a sleepless night. They look forward to nothing more than the scene that fishermen call the golden night, when schools of Pato squid roll in like waves. And with each jerk of the hand, A squid takes a bite of the bait. As soon as the boat stops at the fishing spot, usually a few dozen nautical miles from shore, the captain signals to turn on all the lights. The dark sea suddenly lights up like a giant stage in the middle of the ocean. That light not only raises the surface of the water, but also acts as a seductive invitation for the squid from the deep. Soon, the water begins to boil. Small bubbles floated. Then the silvery glint of tentacles began to appear under the light. That was when it all began. The fishermen held the line. Their hands familiar with each operation, hooking the bait, throwing the line, jerking their hands, pulling it up, tossing the squid onto the deck, and immediately turning to hook a new bait. Each person was like a living machine, operating on instinct and passion. Sometimes, within a few seconds, the fishermen had pulled in 2 to 3 large squid. They splashed water, thrashed around, and spat out ink as black as printing ink. Some of the squid were so large that it took 2 people to pull them up. Some people even slipped if they didn't hold on tight. On deck, screams, the sound of squid struggling, the sound of fishing lines creaking, the sound of sea water lapping at the shore, all combined to create a wild symphony of the night sea. The strangest thing is that, despite the millions of squid being caught every night, the Pato squid population has hardly decreased. Oceanographers have studied and discovered that this species of squid reproduces at a dizzying rate. Each female can lay hundreds of thousands of eggs in a season. And the development cycle is only a few months. Therefore, the sea seems to never run out of squid. But to hunt large batches of squid, fishermen must have techniques, experience, and a strange sensitivity to the sea. Some old fishermen say they can smell the unusual smell of the sea before the squid school appears. Some people look at the water surface, feel the waves, and guess when the golden moment is. Those things cannot be learned from books. Cannot be measured by machines, they can only be felt by the heart of those who have spent their lives at sea. There are rainy nights, when a whirlwind comes up in the middle of the journey. Arms are tired, backs are sore, but no one stops, because each squid is money, rice, medicine for children, tuition for the little ones waiting for their parents to return after the fishing season. Many fishermen used to say, as long as the squid is still coming up, even if the sky falls, no one will drop the fishing line. A Pato squid when brought on board, if well preserved, can be sold for a few tens to a few $100,000 depending on the size and market time. A night of catching squid. Each boat earns hundreds of millions to several billions of dong in revenue. Some fishermen, after a big season, have built houses, bought cars, and taken care of their families. But there are also people who, because they are too greedy, encounter storms in the middle of the night. Their boats sink, and lose their lives. The sea is a place of gifts but also a place of challenges. Pato squid fishing is not only a profession, but also a bet with nature. Every night at sea is a bet. But the fishermen are not afraid. They understand that the sea will not disappoint those who know how to wait, respect, and be grateful. Pato squid are processed very quickly after returning to shore. Some boats have a deep freezing system right at sea. Keeping the squid at -40 degrees Celsius. Some boats take them straight to the processing plant. The squid will be classified, cleaned, frozen, packaged, and exported. Every year, thousands of containers of Pato squid from Asian ports are shipped to Japan. Korea, Europe, America, where people are willing to pay high prices to enjoy fresh squid sashimi, fragrant grilled squid or delicate steamed squid dishes. But for fishermen, what they remember most is not the price of squid going up or down, but the feeling when their hands pull the rope, when they feel the weight of the ocean transmitted through the thin rope, when they see a huge squid flying into the air, falling to the deck. That is the moment when they live, they win, and they become a part of the ocean. Perhaps because of that, despite a series of new technologies, modern machines, fishing robots, people still believe in fishermen and their hands. Because there are things that machines cannot do. Like feeling every movement of giant squid in the dark sea, and pulling them up with just a rope and a precise pull. The fishing line is usually made from super durable synthetic fibers, not too large in diameter to avoid being dragged away by the water current or making the squid suspicious. The end of the line is attached to a sharp hook, on top of which is a special glowing bait called a metallic lure. This bait is made from reflective or bioluminescent material, simulating the light of plankton, which attracts Pato squid more than anything else. Some veteran fishermen also have the technique of shaking the line. They keep the line vibrating slightly as if the bait is swimming in the water. This makes the squid mistake it for live prey, and easily attack. When the squid tentacle touches the hook, the fisherman immediately reacts, jerks the line, turns the wrist to lock the hook into the squid's body, then pulls decisively, quickly and evenly to bring the squid to the surface. On golden drop nights, when a large school of squid floats up, the deck is no different from a battlefield. The squid struggles, water splashes, and the squid sprays black substances everywhere. Sometimes the deck has to be cleaned continuously, sprayed continuously to avoid slipping. But the fishermen still do not let go. They know that this opportunity does not last long. Sometimes after only a few hours the squid school disappears as if it had never existed. Every minute of delay means missing hundreds of kilos of squid. In areas where Pato squid fishing is developed, such as Peru, Ecuador, Japan and the Philippines, people do not just see it as a job, but also a living culture. Every year, people organize the Fiesta del Pato Festival, a special occasion to honor the ocean, giant squid, and handline fishermen. The boats are decorated brightly. There are parades, cooking competitions, singing, and sea stories. Mysterious stories about giant Pato squid tens of meters long, king squid that once sank entire boats, are still told with faces that are both fearful and respectful. In an ancient legend from the port town of Punta Azul, it is said that Pato squid are the incarnations of souls who died at sea, and they appear on full moon nights to seek light. The ship's lights are their guiding lights. If a Pato squid is caught that is too heavy for its intended purpose, the fisherman must release it back into the sea, known as the deep sea release ceremony, to avoid bringing bad luck back to shore. Although this is not scientifically recognized, many fishermen still follow the tradition as a way to respect the sea and the life below. On board, life revolves around squid. From the time the ship sets sail until it returns, all activities, meals, and rest are calculated according to the squid hunting cycle. Some ships only have a small kitchen to cook noodles, porridge, and dried fish. More modern ships have generators, bunk beds, and saltwater toilets. But no matter how comfortable, The smell of squid still lingers in every crevice of the cupboard, the mattress, the shoes, and the hair. At night, after their shift, fishermen lie down on the floor, doze off for a few minutes, and then get up again. They call it sleeping with the rhythm of the squid. For many people, squid fishing is their whole life. They were born at sea, grew up amidst the sound of the waves, and lived with squid. Someone once said, "I don't remember my children's faces as much as I remember the surface of the water when the squids come." The saying sounds sad, but it shows the ultimate bond between people and the sea. And because of that sacrifice, the Pato squid, thought to be just a marine creature, has become the soul of an entire coastal community. The end of a squid fishing trip is not when the ship docks, but when the cargo is loaded onto a refrigerated truck and rolled out onto the highway. When giant squids that once lay exposed on the deck in the middle of the night appear on a sashimi plate in a 5-star restaurant in Tokyo, in a spicy grilled squid dish in Seoul, or in packages of dried squid exported to Europe. Each squid carries a story of the sea, of the fisherman's hands. And of a night of intense squid hunting. When the sun rises, the deck is empty of squid. There are only a few dried black blood stains, a few strings on the floor, and bloodshot eyes from staying up all night. But everyone's face shines with satisfaction. Tonight, they have won the sea again. Tonight, they pulled up millions of squids, not just food, but spoils, rewards, life. And when the new night comes, the lights come back on, the ship sets sail again, and humans prepare to enter the endless battle with the ocean. With the giant squid Pato, a creature that is both ferocious and mysterious, both friend and enemy. A battle that humans, with their bare hands, are still winning. The end.